welcome to episode 5 of We're Right Here. I'm Karen Richards with CMB Bank, and today we have Curt Spicher, President and CEO of Spichers Appliances and Security, and also a CMB Bank Board of Director, and his daughter, Callan Spicher, Vice President of Spichers Appliances and Security. So welcome. We're happy to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So give us a little background of the company. How'd you get started?
Well, my grandfather and father started a business together in 1955. It was one little store on Pennsylvania Avenue in Hagerstown, and my granddad was he worked at Fairchild, and he would go to Fairchild and work the early shift and get off around 3, and then come in and work from 3 to 9 every night. They were open 8 to 9 every day. And my dad was the salesman, repairman, and delivery guy.
He did it all.
He did it all.
He did it all. So I was reading a little bit about your story on your website, and I pulled out this part. We understand humble beginnings and working for each little bit of business you can get. We believe that integrity, honest business, and quiet perseverance can weather any storm. Whether it's taking a risk with your dad to buy a piece of farmland to start your company or braving expansion despite financial crisis. Even though appliances have changed throughout the years, Spichers is still the same. And I love that.
Thank
you.
So
tell us about what values from your family have carried over into your business.
Hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, he still loves to work. He's 93 years old and mows his own grass because he likes to work.
He likes to work. Does he come into the office still?
He stops in very regularly, a couple days a week.
Yeah.
You know, he comes in to make sure everyone's still doing their job for sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Callan, for you and with your upbringing and then moving into the family business, what values do you see carrying over into the business world?
Well, I mean, when I first graduated from college, I didn't think I was going to come back into the business. I was kind of up and out. So it was an interesting change to come back for me. I worked for GE Appliances for 5 years, so I didn't stray too far from the nest in terms of business. But so many of the business conversations and things that we had, but it was just the quiet getting things done all day, every day, where just because it's Saturday, just because it's the weekend doesn't mean things stop, but it also family is still important. So it didn't mean that Dad didn't come to baseball games, didn't come to practices and things like that. But it was just that constant hum in the background of business as well.
Yeah. It sounds like it's been a really good balance of family and business.
Yeah. Yeah, we take families first. And even with our employees, we really value we value them and their family. And if there's a need at home, go. You know,
that's why we have
first.
A lot of families work for us too. A lot of husband and wives, which I feel like, always a good sign if you're willing to bring in your family to come and work for.
You'll refer you to family or friends. That's a really good sign.
Yes.
Yeah, father and sons and a couple of those.
That's good. How many employees do you have now?
86 employees.
Wow. And that's through Maryland, West Virginia,
Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, then the new store coming soon in West Virginia.
Yeah. So tell us about that. What do you have coming soon?
So it's a distribution center along with a store. We'll be selling appliances for sure, but it's all of our warehouse service delivery will be coming out of one location instead of shuffling stuff back and forth and up and down the road. It's going to make us a lot more efficient and sets us up for future expansion.
Yeah.
Besides just the one more store.
Right. It does. So you'll be located primarily at that office?
I'll be primarily at that office.
Callan, you'll still be on Pennsylvania
I'll still be
Avenue?
at the flagship store.
You'll still be there in the flagship. Very good.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the biggest business challenges you face.
There's been so many over the years, but the 07, 08 financial crisis was a very tough time. And
there was a lot of business practices that my grandfather started where things were done on a handshake. People still come in and ask for financial of a third, and a third, where they put a third down, a third before delivery and a third at delivery. I am not sure what the terms were, but those were just things were a little different then. I think everyone kind of had to change things around during the 2008 times. I was not working there then, to be clear, but I was a little young.
Yeah, a lot of the old systems had to be replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same with banking. I mean, we had the
Right.
handshake deals, you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
back in the day. So
Yeah,
that's obviously changed
we
too.
were builders would start up because it was so easy for them, and
Yep.
we would know their name and have a address, but
Not much else.
not much else, and a cell phone number, and then you call it and it's disconnected, and you didn't even know
Right.
where they were. Or
Right. Times have changed.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say more recently, going through COVID had been an interesting time for supply chain. Supply chain with appliances was heavily affected. Bosch felt like they didn't deliver a dishwasher for over a year. That's their
Wow.
big items are dishwashers. So navigating back orders and figuring all of that out was certainly a big change. Expanded warehousing for us, just like everyone else, where it was also, you had a warehouse full of things, but it was all spoken for. But if you had your whole kitchen coming in, you're still waiting for the dishwasher, 3 of your appliances from your kitchen would be in our warehouse and you're still waiting for those things to come in. So that was an interesting bit to navigate as well.
And then we also we're dealing with basically 4 different states of regulations.
All
so
different.
all different. We're watching.
They could have coordinated. That would have been really nice.
Would have made it really easy for you guys.
Yeah.
And we hear the governor's coming on at 2:00 in the afternoon. We'd be watching whichever governor.
Might be giving you an update on how things might change for you.
Yeah. And we were an essential business, so our regulations were a bit different as well, and figuring out what those were was all under crunch time.
Yeah.
But things seem to be deja vu all over again with tariffs. Appliances are heavily impacted by tariffs, even if a lot of the stuff is made in the U.S., but sometimes the parts are brought in as well, or I should say assembled in the U.S., but not technically made. Some things are made in the U.S., but every single microwave, every single freezer, that is all made in China. So figuring out tariffs is our next bit of interesting. But there's always something happening in the retail space. It would be boring if it was nothing.
Yeah, that's right. So regarding that, though, what's the supply chain like for you? Are you on back order for certain things?
Not right now. I think everything with COVID, since that happened so recently, it's front of mind. So we're kind of prepared for supply chain headaches. But so far, things have been running a bit smoothly. I'll knock on wood.
I know.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Is there anything that you implemented during COVID that you still implement today?
There's a really heavy emphasis on online during COVID. And most people now, regardless of whether they purchase in person, are still going to shop online first. So making sure our website was ready to go online, shows our stocking online, shows our pricing, accurate pricing, all the little fun gizmos and gadgets that go into buying an appliance, not just the appliance itself, and figuring all that out. For sure. It was an emphasis before COVID, but certainly became even more of an emphasis.
Yeah.
I think for our salespeople as well, because it was like, we're Spichers, we're brick and mortar, we're about being there in person. And then through that process, they really learned to emphasize online too and value it as well. So that for sure has carried on through that as well.
What's the hot appliance right now? What's everybody want?
Oh, goodness. I think Cafe is a big brand right now that is taking off. They have a matte white finish with alternative different handles. So that's been doing really well.
4 or 5 colors of handles that you can mix and match, and really cool looking.
That's cool. So tell us, what's a typical day look like for each of you? Yours has probably changed a lot over the years.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I do a lot of the ordering, bringing in product. And, when I first started the business, I gave the order to a salesperson, whether it was, I'll say General Electric, for instance. I think I want this.
Yep.
And they would take it back and call it in and things.
Mhm.
And, you know, it went online, or GE went online very early in the mid 80s that we started placing orders online. It was an old dial up,
You're right.
green
Yeah, yeah.
screen,
Mhm.
Oregon Trail looking.
Yeah, that's what I think of too.
yeah, it was archaic but it was state of the art at the
Yeah, at
time.
the time.
And so and that has changed
Yeah.
drastically with the
Mhm.
the way things progress. And
For sure.
yeah, it's much easier now, but there's a lot more of it,
Right.
so
That's right.
it's more time consuming.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your typical day look like?
Definitely depends on the day. Most of my job is marketing and advertising, so I'm
Mhm.
looking at websites, I'm approving what ads look like, but I also look at a lot of the operations side of things as well. Succession planning has also taken a lot of my time. Spichers is really lucky to have a lot of long tenured employees. But that also means replacing long
Yeah.
tenured employees, and that doesn't happen overnight. So making sure we have a plan in place and people in place. The business has grown a lot over the years, so a person that has been doing that job has grown with the job for a long time and can handle a lot of it. But sometimes you need 2 people or
Yeah.
3 people to replace that one person, and figuring out what that looks like and how to break that down.
Mhm.
Has been a big part of my job as well.
So we understand succession planning, don't we,
Mhm.
Curt?
Yes.
So we recently lost to retirement 3 long-term CNB Bank members, team members. 2 of them over 40 years, well over 40, and one almost to 40. And so you're right. Like ideally, you have the right person to step in
Mm-hmm.
internally and be able to cover that
Right.
position. But sometimes you don't, and sometimes it takes more than
Yeah.
one person to cover it. And so it's been an adjustment on our end too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hoping that it doesn't happen is not a great plan.
That's right. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
They're not
It-
going to retire
No.
ever.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean, I
going
know
to
my
happen.
grandfather still is coming in at 93, but having him
Yeah.
still lead
How
at
often does
93
that
is
happen?
yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're
Is
not
a-
going to keep most people until they're 93.
Exactly.
So, have you two ever disagreed on a major decision? And if so, how did you resolve it?
We have definitely disagreed.
Sure.
And the answer I have for how we resolved it is I'll get back to you on that.
It's not resolved yet? Yeah.
No.
We-
This is usually like,
We kick the
let's
can
have
down the
this
road.
conversation later.
Yeah,
And then,
right.
it's usually about finding, at the heat of the moment where you don't want to be like, I need this solved right now. And that can usually be me. And I don't know if that's me being young as well. That's like, we need to solve this problem right this second, or
Yeah.
I won't be able to sleep tonight. And his is more like, let's come back to it, maybe find a different way.
Yeah.
We'll circle back in a minute. I'm like, okay.
No, but I'm glad you said that because it leads into talking about your generational perspectives and how that's impacted Spikers.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well, having Callan come on has definitely made me think of the next
Mhm.
younger generation buying appliances.
Yeah.
Because it's always been people walking in the door and
Yeah.
trying to get them in the door, and with the online, I was big on with getting our website developed. I think our website started in 1999.
Mm.
I believe that's the year it. But
I
it was
bet it's
just a
changed
couple
a lot
pictures.
since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
pictures of the store and
Right.
who we are and that type of thing.
Right.
But and I know it, but she helped me really understand that is the way of the future, and just the younger perspective on wanting a text when we're coming for delivery, and
Yeah, absolutely.
a
Mm-hmm.
text or a notification or an email that's saying your delivery's coming up next week, and different things like that. That it's like, yeah, why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's really helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think different generations sometimes just solve a problem differently or shop
Mhm.
differently, and being able to have all of the different options doesn't mean one is good or bad. It just means that's kind of what they would like out of
Right.
their shopping experience or out of their work experience as well. I think I'm still baffled sometimes when people don't keep a planner that's digital. And I know some people are very married to their day planner and writing things down. But if I don't keep it digital, it's gone. I've lost it, and I've double booked myself.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's not that, one is right, wrong, or indifferent, but
Right.
you can't take my iCalendar out of my.
No, don't take my phone.
I won't know where to go.
I don't know where to go.
I wouldn't be here if my
I
calendar
know.
didn't tell me to show up.
Yeah, right. No, agreed. So, Curt, give us your proudest moment of Callan since she's joined your team.
Oh, please.
I would say COVID was, I was very proud of her, because she was just starting, kind of.
Yeah, I
And
started in 2019.
yeah, so it was right after that, and she definitely led the charge on what we have to do, and
Yep.
because I'm more of a wait and see. She's like, we got to get in front of this,
We got to
and
do it now.
yep, and that has helped me tremendously, just in a lot of things where
Yeah.
she leads the charge, and it's like,
Yeah. So
like
perfect timing for her
Yeah.
to join the team.
like the building that we're building,
Yeah.
the 45,000 square foot building, was her idea, and she's like, this is the way larger regional dealers do
Uh-huh.
this. She went and visited other places, and talked to them, and met them at different shows, and things, and it's like this. And we had outgrown our Hagerstown location. We can't even park all of our employees around the building, let alone have a customer come in. And so it was very obviously we needed something. And I like the idea, the concept, and it's like, let's run with it.
So is the Hagerstown location your current distribution center?
We right now have 2 distribution centers in Hagerstown, and then we also distribute out of Winchester.
Okay.
So usually what I like to say is right now we're kind of operating more like Southwest with like multi-hub, and we need to be more like Delta, except instead of Atlanta's the big hub on Delta East Coast, but our Atlanta will be in West Virginia.
Yeah. Very good. We'll take
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
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 We'll take it. So let's talk about the community and how they've embraced Spikers and your family business. Obviously, as a community bank, community is so important to us
Yeah.
and the
Sure.
impact we make. So
Yeah.
tell us about that with the family business.
Well, with the family business, there we sell to our friends and families and neighbors, and we're going to see them at church or the grocery store or the
Yep.
ball game or that. So, you just want to treat everybody like your family, because you're going to run into them. It's
Yeah.
we're not in a metropolitan market where you can sell them one time and see you and
Right.
good luck with it.
You're
you know.
selling to generations.
Yeah, we're definitely at least 4 generations, or if not
Yeah.
more, that I still run into people that said, I dealt with your granddad,
Yeah,
and
I'm sure.
so it's
And it's
Yeah.
their first kitchen that they're buying in their starter home down to like their last kitchen.
Yeah.
Sounds morose, but that's kind of the journey as well. And kind of on that note of, you can't just walk away once, because if you see them again, it's not like you're just trying to get a quick buck, but it's also the reason why we only service what we sell. Because for us, it's also like not fair if you buy something at Lowe's, and then you're waiting behind someone that bought it from us, your family, and we should
Yeah.
be at your house first. So that's kind of,
Yep.
I would expect my family to show up first for me instead
Sure.
of
Yeah,
someone
agreed.
else.
No,
Yeah.
I love that. So, Callan, for you, how do you tie that into the marketing and storytelling for Spikers?
Storytelling is hugely important. For any business, but making sure that we tell our story, especially one of the most overwhelming considerations when purchasing appliances is obviously price. And while we're extremely competitive with pricing, we scrub our competitors every day to make sure that we're matching pricing, if not below. But that doesn't, even become a consideration unless you hear our story and listen to us and give us a chance. So making sure that they go on Spichers.com or on Instagram or Facebook or wherever they interact with us and know that we're a family-run company that prioritizes service. We prioritizing fixing things. Or if you want a new one.
Yeah.
And being able to make sure that we're meeting customers where they're at and not upselling, just making sure that they're getting a good fit for them and their family is really important. So making sure that that is our selling point too, because you're going to see July 4th ads that are, this $6.99 washer and this one, and it's the same product at Lowe's that it is at Spichers, but the product the product of the appliance itself is the same, but there's so many more benefits to shopping at Spichers rather than just matching the price. So making sure we're talking about that is the biggest difference.
Qualifying the customer to make sure that $6.99 is really what they want.
Right.
Maybe they have 6 kids at home and they need a bigger washer, or it's just the 2 of them and you really don't need all of that. You can get the $4.99 one and it's going to meet your needs.
Right.
So
it's so similar to what we're doing because, we offer the same products and services as the big banks, but with a big bank, you don't get a local banker. You don't get that personalized, customized service. It's the same with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So give us a story of your expansion into the security side. I think I just heard it for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So I came back from one of our buying conferences and they were talking about connected appliances, and this was 12 years ago. And connected appliances are kind of there now, but not, I don't think it's anywhere near what they were envisioning 12 years ago. But they were talking how it was going to tie into security systems. And I had a long-term employee that was dabbling in security systems on the side. And we got together and rolled it into Spichers, and it's really taken off. So it's been, and it's really high technology.
Yeah.
It's definitely where we focus, and it's so much more interesting than when somebody comes out with a new washer and it's like, oh, this year we changed the color of the knobs from gray to black, and
maybe more interesting for you since you've been around appliances for so long.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's like,
Something different.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like they're using AI to recognize a person and then bring in just that person up on cameras so they know where they
Oh, wow.
are.
Yeah.
And
Wow. All that technology that goes into that.
bioreaders for opening doors
Right.
and different things like that. That's what we do.
So
And
you are doing all of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's very
So
cool.
give us your vision for the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, I'll let you handle that.
Yeah.
I'll be
well-
on a beach.
Yeah. That sounds perfect.
Well, expanding into this new warehouse is a pivotal step to make sure we're a little bit more nimble when it comes to our distribution, but expanding our distribution and making sure that we're hitting all parts of 81 as we expand down the corridor. So a few more stores would definitely be in our sights. My brother, Ethan, also works in the business, and while we've been building this building, he put it on the list recently that we got to start looking for a new location. So while this one is still yet to be finished,
He's ready for the next
he
one.
is. He is.
Yep. And I think that's something that was instilled from me from my father, as far as always looking to the future, what trends are, and then where things are going. He's very proud that we went computerized in the early 80s for all of our customer records and things. And as he will tell the story, he went to IBM because there was a local IBM in Hagerstown, and we needed a program for a retail store, and IBM didn't have one at that time.
Okay.
And so we found a local programmer, and they programmed a software system for us. Had the big old tapes that we had to
I bet so.
reel-to-reel tapes
Right.
for backups and things like that, which was, but
You won't find those anymore, will
no,
you?
no.
Mhm.
So it,
Now it's on the cloud.
Now it's
yeah,
all in the cloud.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
But so he was always looking forward, and then
Mm-hmm.
and I've taken it another step,
Yeah.
and
Now you're passing it down to Callan and Ethan.
yep,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you took it from one store to 3 stores.
Yeah.
So now Ethan and I will, well, I guess we can say 4.
yeah,
Almost.
almost,
Almost 4.
Almost 4.
Yeah.
Um,
So what advice would you give a family that's looking to start a business together?
make sure you're willing to have tough conversations. Maybe not
Mm.
the one you want to start off on, but I think one of the good pieces of advice that my dad was given was making sure that you still can have Thanksgiving dinner together. So that's always one of our goals, is making sure no one gets mad to the point where you're missing out on
That somebody's
Thanksgiving dinner.
missing.
yeah,
That's great
Um,
advice.
and being able to have those conversations way before it gets to that point too,
Right.
is really important. But I think family business can also be really consuming, because
Sure.
we go home and we're all 3 employees of Spichers. So then Spichers comes up again, but making sure that you go home, you take off your Spichers hat, you have
Yeah.
a good time, you let work at work for a little bit, because sometimes you need to walk away in order to find
yeah,
a new way to solve a problem.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, we talk business at home, but it's basically family time at home. It's when you get home, it's you're done.
Yeah.
You're done work. Let's
Yeah.
be a family.
Yeah. Good for you all.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great advice.
it's not always easy,
Yeah.
and you're
But
always
you,
worrying about it. But
sure, it's always in the back of your mind,
yeah,
but you're still making time to enjoy each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So, Curt, I want to ask you a little bit about your C&B Bank board impact and how serving on the bank board has impacted your view of community banking.
Um, I've always dealt with a community bank. Back when my father, you know, was running things,
Yeah.
we dealt with the local Hagerstown Bank, and you know, I didn't realize how big and I'll say obnoxious
Mm-hmm.
the big banks are. The
Mm-hmm.
big and hear all these horror stories, and talking to other businessmen or people, it's like you have to bank local.
Yeah.
It's you have that relationship, and I heard one banker say one time, it's easier to change your doctor or your dentist than it is to change your bank.
Yeah.
And but once you're with the community bank and the banker gets to know you and knows your goals and knows what you're doing, it's
Right.
we always like our different vendors, whether it's GE or Whirlpool or a marketing company or our accountants, we look at them as partners,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're not partnering with us, we don't stay with them. And the bank has to be your partner. They're obviously they're in it for their own business, but you
Yeah.
have to be partners together
You still have to
to
care
grow.
about
Yeah.
you, where
Yeah.
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
big bank is
Yeah.
not going
You're
to
not going to
care.
get that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And some of the banks locally that have been bought out and then bought out again and bought out again, and they used to go in and say hello, and they're like, I need to cash this check, and they're like, I need your ID. Who are you? And it's like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he used to walk in and be like, hey, Curt.
Yeah. Right.
Now it's like,
Right. Yeah. Well, you're such a good advocate for us, and we appreciate that. And you have such a unique perspective as a local family business owner, because you understand that relationships are so important. They are for us, they are
Yeah.
for you all. It's what your business
right,
really is founded on.
right.
Mhm.
So, has there ever been a time that you felt like your perspective as a small business owner has impacted our board?
Oh, for sure. With when they're contacting different business people or something like that, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I've helped make the contacts
I'm sure. Yeah.
or not.
Yes.
Like, you probably should not
Yeah.
be chasing that person
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
Which we need that voice. And I think Curt, you started on our advisory board, is that right, in Washington County? And then quickly
Yes.
moved on to our full bank board. How long have you been on our board now?
So I joined in, I think January of 2020.
Okay.
And
Also right before COVID.
Yeah.
so I got to meet all the board members in person
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
And I think a couple were missing or something.
Yeah.
And then it was all Zoom, which
Right.
Zoom was, you might have been speaking French to me at that point because I
Right.
didn't know what I mean, I knew what it was, but
Needed a little help logging in.
yeah.
I'm sure. Right. Yeah.
But, now it's like, I think
Now
I'm just
you're so
going
used to
yeah,
it.
it's like, oh, I'm going to just Zoom to that meeting. And that has changed how we do business, how,
Mhm.
but, so I really didn't get to meet the board really well.
Yeah.
It's like, and Zoom meetings are perfect and great, but you don't get that one-on-one, how things going,
Yeah.
what,
You don't. They're
you
great. They're
yeah,
convenient, but you don't get that personal
right.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And really get to know people,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Mm-hmm.
whether we're talking about what they were fishing for or hunting or
Right.
golfing or,
Yeah.
the,
It's back
the
to those relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And making those connections.
But, it's been very enjoyable,
Great.
especially since, Berkeley Springs is not my home ground,
Mhm.
and, getting to know a lot of new faces and
Mhm.
becoming good friends with them.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
been,
we love your perspective. I have so enjoyed getting to know you. And as you know, Callan helped us with some marketing
did.
projects
Yeah.
a few years ago. And so I enjoy getting to know Callan as well. But
Yeah.
we appreciate both of your perspectives. So, okay, so a little bit more about yourself. So tell us, who's more likely to be late to a meeting?
What time is the meeting?
The time of the meeting is 8 a.m.
Oh, then I will be late.
You're not going to be there.
But otherwise, it's definitely you.
Yeah.
I usually, yeah.
yeah, it's like, we're all in the conference room waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm on my way.
So it's you. I actually thought it was going to be Callan no matter the meeting time. Okay.
No.
So give us one thing that you admire most about each other.
So what I admire most about Callan is her directness and straightforward and going right after the problem, or whether it's a problem or not, or opportunity or
Yeah.
whatever. And so that has helped me become stronger
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of getting to know that side of
Yeah.
Callan too. So, we could ask her a question, her opinion on things that we were doing on the marketing side, and she would always give us her honest opinion. So we appreciated that.
Yeah.
I would say on that kind of same vein, I'm learning patience.
Yes.
You are very patient, and can also sometimes patience helps solve a problem, or helps figure things out a little bit more. I can also tend to be angry quicker. But where it's like, this is not that big of a deal. We can figure this out. Where I might snap at a vendor and be like, you promised us this and you did that. Where also that's helpful sometimes as
Sure.
well to make
Yeah.
sure we're getting stuff from the manufacturers. But sometimes it's like, get more with honey than you do with vinegar. So maybe
True.
just like
True.
take a step back and pace in your office
Have
for a
you
bit.
seen Curt get angry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a different way of getting angry, I would say, than like most people. Because like when you're quiet in general,
Yeah.
but then it's like super quiet. And it's like,
And then
oh no, like
He's
this is
not
not going
happy.
to go very well.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
But-
not going to ask him this today.
yeah. Well, and then it's if he's angry at a certain vendor or something, then he's like not going to engage at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where it maybe not be anger. It's just like, I'm not going to like talk to you. I'm not going to
It's
sit
the
down.
silent
and,
anger.
Yeah. Where you're
Uh-huh.
just like indifference almost, which
Right.
might even be worse.
Yeah. Right. Agreed. Right.
Yeah.
So in the hypothetical meeting that you're late to, what's your go-to coffee order that you're stopping for before you get to the office?
Curt would probably not stop for coffee before he would get
Yeah.
coffee at like the break room coffee
yeah.
pot.
Okay.
The old bun coffee.
But I am
that's
definitely
gross.
yeah. I love going to Cannon Coffee downtown Hagerstown.
Yeah.
I love that one. What else? So I'm probably there getting
You're there getting your
vanilla
order.
oat milk
Oh, there
latte
you go.
iced. Yeah.
Good choice.
Black
Just straight black.
Sludge, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
black from the break room.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince him that there's like more taste in coffee because like you enjoy different wines. So like I know you have like a palate, but with coffee, there's just not one there.
There's no compromise.
No.
Nope.
Sludge
So-
is fine.
The sludge is fine. So if y'all had to swap roles for a day, what would that look like for the company?
I could order for a day,
Yeah.
but ordering is a lot of patience once again that you're like constantly going through spreadsheets and figuring, and I like a spreadsheet, don't get me wrong, but like ordering can also change very quickly where someone moved their order from tomorrow till next Thursday, and he is also fine with a salesperson makes a mistake on their order, you'll just go in and correct it. He's good. He's better at making sure they correct some like minor things too. Where that's where my patience again. I'm like, why didn't you do this correctly? And
Yeah.
doing things.
Yeah.
So I feel like I could do it for a day, but
day.
longer than that, I'd be
You'd be struggling.
yeah.
So if I'm in charge of Instagram, Facebook, and a website,
We're not
for a day,
posting for a full day.
Yeah.
we're just going to take a break.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll browse the internet for the day.
You're
Yeah.
right. Right. He's making your job sound really easy.
Yeah,
And I know that it's not.
No.
I'm just saying I can't do it.
I'm just going to take a break for a day.
No,
Yeah.
I can't,
Just
yeah.
gonna pull up Netflix and
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're not in the office, where can we find you two?
This time of the year with the spring and all the rain, I'll be on the mower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
How about you, Callan?
I'll be with my dog Pippin. He's
Yes.
a corgi.
Yes.
So usually I'm hanging out
I've
with him.
virtually met Pippin.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He is almost 2. He's
Yeah.
growing up so fast.
yeah, he's in the
Growing
office
fast.
every day.
Yeah,
running around the
good.
store. Yeah.
Yeah. An office dog is never a bad idea.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's been very
I
good.
think he's most people's favorite employee.
I'm sure you're right. Yeah. So anything we missed before we wrap up? Anything you wanted to add?
I think
Um,
I don't know. Business in general is doing well.
yeah.
Good.
Say
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
making sure you have great employees is always one of the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, we've got some very loyal, very strong employees that really like coming to work and doing their job.
Which says a lot about you two and your culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Well, thanks for joining us today.
thanks for
so
having
that
us.
does it for episode 5 of We're Right Here. If you haven't checked out Spichers Appliance Story, check them out at spichers.com. Shop local, bank local. We'll see you next time on We're Right Here.